Hello everyone, welcome. You must be my kind of people to come over here to support me. I appreciate it. Whatever brought you over here the first time, keep coming and bring others too. You know I live, love, and I do me unapologetically. So welcome to Home Base. And thank you for coming over here and I hope you're having a good day. And what about your Easter? I hope you had a great Easter. Mine was quiet as usual. I'm a homebody, so I didn't do much. I stayed over at my sister's for the weekend, and then I came home, and I was cool. I chilled and watched Netflix. Yes, I chilled and watched Netflix. So everything is okay. I want to talk about. Oh, and I also watch my favorite TV shows. Did you see Married at First Sight and Candy and the Gang? Married at First Sight and Candy and the Gang. Well, Married at First Sight was Wednesday. Candy and the Gang was over the weekend. That was a mess. Dom and Brandon are a mess. I do hope that they know that workplace romance won't last for long. So I think they're making a very big mistake. Patrick and Safari with her pissy attitude. Something is not taking right with Safari. That's my opinion. She's always in a bad mood. And I don't see how Chandrika could be a threat to her. But them with their uncouth selves went downstairs to uninvite after Patrick invited everyone to his house warming. They went downstairs to uninvite Chandrika and her boyfriend. And Patrick making that excuse about, oh, somebody put something in my drink. People don't do right sometimes. You invited these people over to your house, Patrick. But then Safari was not happy and you had to throw everybody under the bus. Married at First Sight was good. It was good as usual. Elijah One went back to where he was raised. I think he was raised in the projects. And he tried to explain to Katina the reason for his abrasiveness sometimes and his aggression. It was kind of a defense mechanism because he would have to defend himself because of where he lived. And he was just explaining those things to her. And as usual, Katina was the great listener. And he was a bit calm this episode. You know, it takes effort with Elijah One. So that was how it was. Katina was very understanding, always listening. Then she went back to her church and she said everything for her is the church. Her foundation is the church. She took him to church. Then we had Lindsay and Mark as usual. Mark is the explainer and Lindsay is the complainer. Lindsay complains about everything, as I said. And she was complaining. She wants to pinch, bite, and push Mark, and he's not happy about it. But he has no right to speak on it because Lindsay thinks that's her being affectionate. Anyway, it's neither here nor there. She took him to where she used to hide out as a child because she didn't find comfort in her home, so she used to go into the woods. I think she's a gypsy. No disrespect to the gypsies, but Lindsay has gypsy blood. And she took him there and he was like, I'm not going in there. So she said that is where she would go when she was growing up, and she would go to people's homes and pretend in her mind that she was running away. Mark took her to where he, grew up too, and it was a bit revealing. Jasmina and Michael spoke on things that, tragedies in his life and that have shaped him into the person he is today. And Jasmina also took him to where she grew up. She said her dad was a trucker and he was on the road a lot, so she found solace in other things. And there was this teacher named Miss Pataski, I think her name was, because I'm not too sure, but like me, Michael was not too sure and he mispronounced her name, and Jasmina almost popped off on him. She needs to take a chill pill sometime. Miss Pataski, Mrs. Pataski, have to get the right handle. Anyway, they shared their upbringing and so on, and then there was Noy and Steve. Steve had a more open, liberal upbringing, and he was allowed to do, things with his life, experiment and so on. Whilst Noi, as we know, her upbringing was different, and she had these little regrets, and she was feeling that she was not able as a child to really experience things that, children her age were supposed to have experienced. Nevertheless, she's found solitude and solace in dance, and they danced afterwards. That was really cool. I think that this episode was wholesome. It was really cool. It was nice. But there's always the calm before the storm. So I don't believe they're counting down to decision day. And Elijah One actually hinted at the fact that he wants Katina to say no. That's another story that is coming in the next episode. That was my takeaway from what he said. So anyway, listen, I want to talk about something that I happened upon when I was scrolling and surfing the internet. This issue with as it relates to Shaquille O'Neal and him admitting a few things. Not sure about who the interviewer was, but they were having this conversation, and Shaquille O'Neal was actually taking ownership and was being accountable for the way things went between him and Shawnee when they were married. There were no buts, there were no because. He gave credit where credit was due, and that was riveting, and it gave me pause. It actually showed how a man apologizes. Well, let me give you the murder story. This is what happened. He was being interviewed by this guy who was asking him about his marriage and how his marriage ended, and the guy was saying, okay, he was saying, well, there are things that you can control, but this is not what he thinks. Him getting divorced is not one of the things that he thinks that Shaq could have controlled, because there are two people in a relationship. And it sounded as if he was kind of like giving Shaq a way out, if that was what Shaq was looking for. Lo and behold, Shaq did not, take that. He then said to him, he said, listen, I take ownership for everything that went on in our relationship. Yes, I have a responsibility. It was all me. I am responsible for how things turned out in my marriage. I would do things and not give her any explanations. I would go out there, I would do stuff. I knew things would be hurting her, and I didn't think that I owed her any explanation. She was always there. She was a good woman. She took care of the house. She took care of my family. She took care of my businesses. And he just put a spoke in that guy's wheel, because he was not going to have it. That is how you take accountability for your actions. He did not shift it onto her and say, okay, well, she did this, that, and the third. No, he did not. And when the guy was trying to give him that way out, he wasn't going to have it. Kudos to you, Shaquille O'Neal. I mean, I am not going to be patronizing and go too much into this, but your dusty behavior caused you to end up in the position that you ended up in, getting divorced and so on. So it's not that after the fact, but the main thing is that you're taking ownership. Accountability in any situation, any circumstance is important. And Shaquille O'Neal and Shawnee O'Neal are public figures, and everybody knew of their relationship. They have children and all these things. And it was important for him at this point, because it's all about a mindset. Sometimes men they think that by apologizing or taking ownership for their actions, it is a sign of weakness. No, for a woman, that's the greatest turn on. And it's not only a man thing, it's not only about gender, it is human beings. But I'm speaking to men, because this is Shaq who made this, these utterances. And it's about mindset. Don't think or believe that by apologizing or taking ownership for your actions, you're seen less of a man. That is a man thing to do. A woman is turned on by that. A woman sees her man as being this protector, provider, and one who's present. And if you do something that that upturns the apple cart and causes a shift in the energy and the temperature in your relationship, it is always good for you to step up, take ownership, take accountability. Man, that woman is going to, at least that is me. As a woman, I do that. That does it for me. because I take accountability for my actions. And if me as a woman, I can do it, you are a man, and you said we come from your rib, right? So you're supposed to, you protect your rib. So if you're protecting your rib, you would want to do right by your rib, okay? So men, you need to understand this, and that separates males from a man. Shaquille O'Neal, in this instance, that was a man thing to do. He shut down the guy. He was not going to have it, and it is important. He's setting a trend. He has sons. He has boys. He wants them to see that their father is a stand-up guy. He made mistakes, you know, and I'm not doing that, because those dusty things that you do causing pain and hurt, even though she would have moved on, they're still in her, you know, they would still resonate, because she lived that life. She lived that life with him. And we weren't there, but you could only imagine, because most of us have been cheated on, and you know the feeling, you know how it feels. So I want to say, this is the way you apologize. He did not offer any explanation. There were no buts, there were no excuses. It was all me. I did this. It was not on her. She was present. She was there. She did all she had to do, and that's it. So I just wanted to touch on that, because, and you could go check it out. Just Google it. It's there. Go check it out. It is there. It's trending. People are talking about it. So as usual, thank you for coming over here. Thank you for joining me. Please check out my books on Amazon, my store, my Shopify store. I have the best freaking hoodies, sweatshirts, and t-shirts. Trust me, I have the best. So check them out. Check out my store, my books. Everything is in the description section. Thank you for hanging with me as usual. It is always a pleasure being here with you. And we'll share, we'll have, we'll do things together. This is a great hanging spot. A great place. This is home base. A great hanging spot. So thank you again. Stay safe and be self-aware. Okay? See you in the next one.